Hey guys, welcome to the season finale. We made it. This is episode 10 of season 5. Welcome to season finale of Today with Ray. I'm your host, Rhema T, and this is the show that highlights everyday entrepreneurs. And you get to end it with the two best entrepreneurs here for the show. If you're new here, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe button, and notification bell so you'll be the first one to know when this episode comes out. Vance.
Yeah.
This is
one,
it.
Yeah, this flew by.
Oh my God.
This really flew by this season.
This one, I felt like I blinked and we're like, oh, it's episode 10. We're done.
Yeah.
Feels good though. I'm not gonna lie to you. This episode is actually being filmed the day after the 4th of July. And so like we were talking off camera. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm super beat. I was saying I was at the beach with my family for a full shift. We were there for 8 hours. And so, like, the weather was perfect.
Yeah, it was so nice yesterday.
It was so nice
good.
yesterday. And the ocean was, like, really shallow. So, like, me and my kids, we were super far. But if you know me and you've seen me in real life, I am vertically challenged. I'm 5'3", and I was fighting for my life out there, guys. Those waves, they were, like, just, like, chopping me in the throat. I'm sitting here just trying not to, like, let my kids down because they're, like, having a ball. But I'm sitting here, like, getting gut punched by waves, and I'm just like, I'm not gonna lie to you. I've had coffee, but it was not enough. So yeah, what did you do for the 4th?
Oh, it was good. I was kind of the exact opposite. Mine was really nice. I had a nice, easy day.
Yeah.
Lots of air conditioning. Went to my best friend's fireworks thing at a nice little kind of thing near the inlet.
Yeah.
And it was. They already brought their own fireworks, so I didn't have to deal with parking or anything.
Man.
It was just drive up, boom, you're there.
You're done.
It was the best.
You're done.
One of the best 4th of Julys I've been to.
Cool.
In a couple of years.
I'm here for it. Let us know in the comments what you did or didn't do. I mean, whatever your vibe was, let us know in the comments. Back to the season. I mean, I don't think we only did one day where it was a 3.
Yeah.
Which we've learned from last year not to do that too many times.
Yeah, no.
But even that day, I think it was spaced out pretty good.
Yeah.
The guests that we had this season, they just dropped so many bombs. Like they were incredible. We started off with Judy.
Yeah.
Gerard. Listen, powerhouse.
Man, firecracker.
Oh my goodness. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Once she left, Vance and I just sat here for a good, maybe I felt like it was like 15 minutes.
Yeah, it was a solid
like,
15.
Who did we just interview? There was so much off camera
That we had no idea about.
that we didn't even get to put in the episode where we were just like, who are you?
Yeah. And I remember you came up to me and you were like, okay, I've got this like one talking point. Like, you know, she won this award. I think it'll be good. And then like halfway through it, she like blew past. Like,
Right.
I don't think we realized that she also worked at, what was the other network?
Disney. And
Yeah, she worked at Disney and Lifetime.
Lifetime. Yeah.
And, like that was just casually dropped. And we were just like,
in there and it's like,
wait, what?
don't even have real grasp of time to like dive into that. Yeah. The fact that she just blew by like, yeah, my Emmy, an Emmy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lifetime Achievement Emmy at that. She's like, oh yeah, it's upstairs in my guest bedroom. That's when you know you've hit like a pinnacle in your life where it's just like, I do this.
Yeah, my guest room is just my awards room.
Yeah,
now.
like I do this.
Yeah.
And been doing it. And yeah. So make sure you go back and watch that episode so you can get what we're saying, where she was just casually like laissez-faire about this Emmy award. It just blew by and she's like, yeah, and then next sentence.
Yep.
So
instantly just on to the next thing.
On to the next thing. And I was just like, okay. But yeah, we probably sat here for a good 15 minutes later. I'm going to go ahead. I don't know if it actually happened or not, but I'm going to just go ahead and apologize to Guy Fieri. And who's the other one? Who's the other one that she
Bobby Flay.
Bobby Flay.
Bobby
Yeah.
Flay.
If you see this episode, sorry. There's no hate towards you guys. I love both of y'all. I love Guy Fieri a little bit more, Bobby. I'm sorry.
Bobby caught a little bit more fire on that one.
He did, and it's okay. You know, he's rocking it. He has his new Pepsi collab. Like he's probably not thinking about. He's not thinking about me for the life of God. I mean,
he's gonna be the one troll in your comments.
Oh my God! Please don't. He's like, you suck. No, I don't. I'm sorry. Yeah.
This is not Flay 44.
Yeah. Right. So, okay. Who's our next guest? I think Kristen.
Yep, it was Kristen from
with
Hello Love.
Hello Love.
Yeah.
Listen, her story. Let me tell you something about being a talk show host. It's so easy when they just talk.
Yeah.
Freely. It really helps me so much when I don't have to like pull an answer out. And she was one of the ones where I was just like, yes.
Yeah.
My day is easy.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like that she has a store dedicated to other local businesses. I mean, like Hello Love is all about, you know, making sure that fair trade, women-owned, locally owned businesses have kind of like a brick and mortar to kind of sell their stuff. Where they otherwise wouldn't. I think I messed up the order though.
Maybe not.
Wasn't Robin next?
It was much later down the line.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I could have swore Robin was episode 2.
No,
because
Hello Love was episode 2. I think Chris Hotzik might have been 3rd or 4th. No. I think it was Wayne.
No, Wayne wasn't. I'm pretty sure it was Robin.
Okay. But one thing I will say about the Hello Love episode was I appreciated her arc. Like,
oh my gosh,
about how, you know, when it started to where she ended.
Yeah.
It's like you all of a sudden understood why her store took on the characteristics that it did.
Right.
And even the little touchstones in her store referred back to like the store previously that was there.
Yeah.
The plant store. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I thought that was a really nice, like kind of respectful touch to be like, hey, you know, they might have left, but we respect all the businesses.
Right.
I loved that.
Yeah. No, her arc was amazing. When you go back and watch that episode, the first half of it was really dedicated to her story of how she even made it to opening up Hello Love.
Yeah.
And that goes back to what I'm saying. Like, when they fully express, I don't have to keep reaching, like, okay, like, and then what? Or, like, what happened next? And it's just like, no, she was so fluid in her story, and I respect that also. And I love that everybody's different.
Yeah.
So the fact that she took us really on a journey of, I started here, and these were all the steps that kind of were calculated for me, even down to when she said, like, she got fired.
Yeah. And a horrible experience with her toxic boss.
Listen, but all of that took her to where she is now. And that's the beauty of this show, is watching and understanding how everyone got to where they're at.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And that it doesn't have to be a perfectly straight line. It can double back around twice over.
Twice over.
You know?
Yeah, because she tried to quit the first time and ended up going back to the job.
Quit 3 times, I think it was?
Yeah, I think it. Yeah. Somewhere in that. Somewhere where it's like, I get it. It's sometimes it's hard to let go of that security. But she made it, and she check out her episode for yourself, and lovely business.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah.
Great person. Then
Robin is episode 2 or 3, one of those.
Yeah, one of those.
But
whatever.
You can throw in the clip once we talk about this. So Robin from Panacea Brewing Company, love her. She was so fantastic. So fantastic that after that episode, Vance and I went and had lunch there.
Yeah.
And it was Vance's first time trying kombucha.
Honest to God, it was my first time. I'd never had kombucha. I'd always heard about it. I heard things from different people, but I was like, hey, if there was ever a time, now would be the time to do it.
Right. And so we did our episode and went to have lunch there right afterwards.
Yeah.
And food was delicious. We got
so
flights to try different kombuchas. Not gonna lie to you guys. He's gonna throw up the video. I don't remember what
I'm gonna try the mango berry acai.
Well, we just got finished interviewing Robin at Panacea, and this is Vance's very first time trying kombucha.
Yeah,
so
I think it'll be good.
Down the hatch.
That's really good.
Okay.
That's really, really good.
Did you taste the apple cidery taste that she was saying the first sip? Is always like...
For me, at least, it kind of almost registers like more like a wine.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it is fermented. Try that Barbie drink.
Okay. She said this one's going to taste like bubble
gum.
Okay.
It looks like bubble gum.
That's about as Barbie as you can get. All right, here we go. That's really good. That tastes...
Does it taste like bubble gum like she said?
No. You know when you were like a kid and you would try like, you know, like a kid's version of something like fruit punch and then like adult fruit punch is different? A kombucha kid's juice box pink lemonade. Like that's how...
I got you.
Not that it's like processed, but it just has that like little bit of extra sweetness compared to like what an actual lemonade is. But I really like it. Melon berry. Okay.
Melon berry.
Much more, I guess, kombucha-y than the
so
others.
Now you're getting...
Now I'm getting it. Yeah. That one, definitely. That's a kombucha-y one.
Okay.
And passionberry.
Okay.
This one was another one that got my mind. Okay. That's aromatic. Oof. That one. Wow. That's got layers to it.
Okay.
I like that one though. It's still changing. It was like started sweet, then it went bitter, then it felt like it went back to sweet again. And then it was like hints of almost like really like a tea base. Like you really kind of...
Is that one of the ones that has the tea base?
It does. That one is... Yeah, that one's hibiscus. Yes, I'm definitely getting the hibiscus hints out of that.
So what's Vance's top choice?
I think I'm going to go with the mango berry acai.
I do remember that one.
It had like 4 fruits in it or something like that. That was another one of my favorites.
I got a lavender lemonade. It wasn't kombucha, but that one was really, really, really good. I want to say there was something with mango, but there was not.
Yeah. Passion fruit?
Passion fruit. Maybe
that's
either
passion fruit or dragon fruit.
One of those.
One of those two.
One of those. It was delicious. Robin's story was so interesting, given the fact that Panacea started as a vegan restaurant. And I think that's so interesting because she mentioned that her and her husband are not vegan at all.
I had no idea. I had no clue.
They just wanted to cater to a community that was underrepresented here in Wilmington.
And very much underserved at that point.
Exactly. I think they were one of like one when they first kind of opened up. And then they had to like pivot and make a decision to open up their menu to the meat eaters of the world, right? Like, and I think it was so very interesting hearing how they got to that point. And given that we went there, their menu is literally 50-50 split.
Yeah. Anything
on that menu you can get as a vegan option or a carnivorous option.
An omnivore option. I think they said it was their omni menu.
Right, like so options. you can really play around and kind of tailor it however you want to, which I don't think any other restaurant that I can think of. Like I know there's restaurants that have vegetarian options or like vegan options, but the entire menu is not a 50-50 split. So that's my little shout out for them. If you're here in Wilmington, ever traveled to Wilmington, just know that place is for anybody and everybody.
Yeah. Also, the cauliflower wings, first time I've ever had them, one of my all-time favorites on their menu. Go try it. You will not be disappointed. Love it.
I think that's one of their top sellers. Is their cauliflower wings, which seems like oxymoron, but like it works.
You wouldn't think that it would work at all, but
it works.
Man, it's oh gosh, I could eat it again and again.
Chris.
Yeah, Chris
with the fencing bros. I'm not. Listen.
I loved editing that episode.
I kept messing up. I feel so bad. I kept messing up the name of his business, which seems so very unprofessional. He took it like a champ. We just made a joke of it, but it's Husick Brothers Fencing.
Yep.
I got it right for the finale.
Yes.
So, Chris, there you go.
Yes, indeed.
But that was one of the things where I was just, in my head, I'm like, come on, Rhema, like, you are really messing this up.
Yeah.
Like, you're not a newbie. This is season 5. Why can you not get this entrepreneur's business name correct? But he was so informative.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy. If you have a fence in your backyard or are thinking about getting a fence in your backyard, go back and watch that episode. It was so educational. For all intents and purposes, we learned so much during that episode where I now don't look at my fence the same.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, okay, like every couple of months I need to like knock on the wood to make sure like it's treated correctly and man.
Yeah. And then like for me, my wife and I, we recently had a deck kind of constructed on our house, and even though it was a deck, like I was still looking at it, I'm like, oh, okay, that's the wood that he's talking about. Okay, and then I'm looking at like down at the bottom, I'm like, oh, they concreted right at the soil line. Okay, I wonder how far down that goes. Oh, okay. Well, now the microbes can't get to it. Okay, so now my deck might last longer. And I'm like, yes. I'm like, oh.
And then just his perspective, because he, as in the name gives, he works with his brother, both of them, and just to hear like the harmony of how they kind of play out is such a beautiful thing. I always struggle like with hearing stories of best friends or like people that are really close with each other getting into business, because it could either go really right or really
horribly wrong. Horribly
Um,
wrong.
So that was one of the things where I was just like, oh, like you guys are doing it and you're doing it well.
Yeah.
I
I also loved the fact too that when he was talking about, they kind of came at it from a unique perspective in that, the people that they had hired on their staff had the experience, but them leading it, they knew it from the business side first. So like they already knew what the margins, what you needed for supplies, but when it came to them building it themselves, they didn't really have that much experience. That was a really unique dynamic, because it kind of showed them that sooner or later you can have all the knowledge in the world, but you're going to have to get in there in the trenches sooner or later. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, to understand that like there's a need. I know that there's a gap that needs to be filled. He talked about how him and his brother like were really on the ground, like trying to build the fence themselves, and then kind of came to a point where it's just like, we understand the business part of this more. Make sure you check out his episode. He was all of the guests this season were, but I will hold true. I think that was the most educational episode of the season. So, then who do we? Grace and Nicole. With Hawthorne and Oak. I wish there was more time. To talk with them. There was so many different aspects, like the social media side, that we didn't even get to talk about when it came to their business, and beautiful candles.
I loved their logos, the labels on it. They were just clear. They were crisp.
They were so beautiful. Off camera, I'm not lying. I was just like holding one. I was just, I kept smelling them. They were just outrageous. And to know that everything's kind of like local, like the flowers that's in the candles comes from Nicole's backyard.
I thought that was brilliant. I'm
just like awed by that, because you're literally getting an extension of them, not just from their creativity, but like literally the backyard. I mean, I tried my hand at flowers this one year, and like they're so finicky. I couldn't imagine having to rely on flowers as a source for my income.
No. Oh, I'd be in a cardboard box.
Right, because
Yeah,
what do you mean I need to grow X amount because I have X amount of candles that need like lavender?
Yeah.
I can't get my brain around herbs. Like they always just die.
Yeah. We planted like, I think it was like 5 or 6 flowers.
Yeah.
This past couple of months, me and my wife, I think 2 of them lived.
See?
And even then, they were like pathetic. They were like really small. I mean, they're fighting for their lives, but I mean, yeah. So God bless them. They got a green thumb. I mean, that's something special. And then I also appreciated their transparency about their mental health.
Listen.
That's so important.
So very important. Grace, she was just like dropping some heartfelt, like transparent bombs in that episode to the point where like, remember like she wanted to say something and like it just was not coming to mind until after the episode where she was like, oh yeah, I meant to say, but listen, one of the things she was like, it's okay to be okay, or something along that line.
A big thing she said too was it was okay to have corpse time. I loved that. I loved that.
Yes. Where a big portion, go back and watch the full episode, but a big portion was how they were very transparent and talking about how it's difficult for them to take time off for themselves because one of the factors that's different in their story is that they didn't give up their full-time job to be entrepreneurs. They still work full-time, find the time to do things for their business, and in that we kind of just unloaded of how important it is to take space for yourself because if you're empty, how do you fill back into your business? And so Grace was talking about what she calls corpse time, and she literally just zombie flies on the couch or like whatever she chooses to do to take
and tells
time
her loved one too, like, hey, I love you,
right,
I need this time. And that's so important, especially if you're a business owner and you have a partner.
Yes,
because sometimes you need to have that time for yourself, and it can be so hard because you have those commitments already in your life. But like you said, if you can't take care of yourself, you sure as heck can't take care of anybody else, and you sure as heck can't take care of your business.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, that was a phenomenal episode. They were so transparent, and I love that. Again, I express to you all the time that this show is really just highlighting the journey, and I love it so much because every journey is different.
Yeah,
it is. Now, there's some key components dealing with entrepreneurs that may sound redundant. It's not. It's just the nature of the beast. Like there's some things where it's just going to seem pattern, where it's just like, okay, we get it. But hearing everyone's story was just like, it always amazes me when I sit across my guests and I'm just like, wow. And I love just being able to listen. And thankfully, this entire season, they were yappers. And I love it. Yeah. I love it.
And what was interesting too, back to what you said about, there can be similar patterns, but there can be differences. You can go back and Hawthorne and Oak, the way that they do their candles versus previous season, we had another business that also handled candles.
Archer that changed to Artemis.
Yeah, Artemis now. And it's so interesting because even when you think something like candles, one might focus more on the actual container itself versus theirs was much more focusing on the kind of metaphysical, the theory behind it, and then also the intentionality of it. Of course, the other candles also had great amounts of intentionality, but it came from a different space.
That's so true.
And it was so interesting because when that initially kind of came in, and then at the end of that episode, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Very similar business model, completely different mindset behind
That's
it.
So true that you bring up that. And now I'm thinking about it, both of them started it because remember they both had like migraines.
Yes.
And like
health problems
with but their stories are still completely different.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a great point. Yeah. Great. Make sure you watch their episode. And of course support all of these local businesses.
Yes, please support them.
The other cool thing about Grace and Nicole is that they have spearheaded another candle business with booked candles.
Yeah.
I said it right. I
Yes, you did.
struggled in that episode because I'm like, it needs to be booked or candle booked because it made me think of like Facebook, and they're like, no, it's
And lawsuit.
right. So the basis behind that was that they take books that have, you know, a central theme or like their character smells a type of way or something. And then they create the candle based off of the book, which I think is so cool because imagine you're reading and like, I don't know if you thought about this, but reading is already kind of trippy. You're looking at pages of, you know, wood that got transferred into
okay. I see where you're going.
You know, a book, and you're reading words and then like hallucinating basically. I don't know if you do that when you read.
No, absolutely. I envision it, but like you're blowing my mind right now. Like,
you get what I'm saying?
No,
like
keep
if you're a visual person when you read, you're hallucinating, really. So so imagine if you have the added element of the candle.
Oh, man.
Right? And it's matching, saying like, hey, John, you know, walks into the room and he smells like sandalwood and earth.
Yeah.
And you're smelling that as you're reading that.
That would be wild.
Bro, I would already.
That'd be wild.
Right?
Or like reading Lord of the Rings and like you have like a forest candle. Oh, man, that'd be wild.
Bro, you're already tripping out. Mm-hmm. And now you have an added like sensory. Oh,
that's next level,
right? So like, there you go. That's it right there.
Yeah.
If that doesn't sell you, right? All my avid readers, like, trippy.
Yeah, I never. That was one of the most. Now every time I'm going to read a book, I'm like, okay, I'm tripping right now.
Yeah, you're tripping. you're hallucinating.
Yeah, I'm hallucinating. Voluntarily hallucinating.
Voluntarily.
Oh, Lord.
So, yeah, that's... Go back and watch that episode, and you're going to realize just, like, how amazing they were. Gretchen?
Oh, yeah, acupuncture.
Like, I always call... So, the funny thing is, we did Leadership Wilmington together, and that was her superlative, because at the end of it, you know, you get a superlative of, like, how you were in class, and hers was like most likely to have needles in her bag. Again, because of acupuncture, but when you say it like that, it's just like, girl, what are you doing? But her standpoint kind of reminds me a lot of like Wayne and Barrett, because they've been in the business for a long time. Each of these people have been in business for over 20 years, which I love talking to the more mature entrepreneurs because, again, while themes are the same across the board, she literally started because of an ad in the Yellow Pages. Yeah. And you're not going to get that type of historic start with businesses today. Yeah. Luckily, like, we're old enough where we know what Yellow Pages are, but, like, for some of the viewers, it was just funny having to, like, explain
what that was. And I'm glad you did because I didn't even like think about that. Like I just automatically started saying like, Yellow Pages.
Yellow Pages.
But for a lot of, for Gen Z and whatever this next generation coming up is Gen Alpha? Alpha? Oh, I don't want to think about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, props to you for making it very inclusive because they might have no idea what that is at all.
Yellow Pages of what?
Which is wild to think about.
Right. So with Gretchen, her journey was amazing. Again, started with an ad that she won, right?
Yeah, she won it, yeah.
She won it
for a whole year, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like one of those gift baskets and like, raffled items, and one of the prizes was a year's worth of a quarter size ad space.
Which is a big deal.
Right?
That was a big deal in the phone books. Yeah, yeah.
And then it blew up from there, and she's grown that business so much that she actually got to sell it.
Yeah, that's what have you had any other guests on that have sold their business?
No,
before?
I don't. I don't recall. If I do, I'm sorry to that guest. Your story was just as important, but
yeah. But no, I feel like that was a really unique perspective because a lot of people, you know, like she said in the episode, like her business was her baby. And she had been running it for, I mean, to the point where it was almost legal, I think it was, before she sold it. Like, it would have been 18.
18? Yeah, 18 years of that business.
Commitment, and then just selling it, and then be like, okay, cool, let's start again.
Yeah.
Like, start again, but this time with the dynamic, like, learn the lessons from that. Now let's start a new one, but this time pick the things that I like out of that. Like, that, the commitment there and the mindset, and just go right back after it. Wild.
Wow. Yeah. And the sincerity and humbleness that she shared and her journey of how she was traveling every third week out of the month to go to school.
Yeah.
Started with massage therapy, worked up and with Chinese medicine, and then acupuncture.
Yeah.
Like, just
and it was years like that.
Yeah.
Years. And then like she had like a wild amount of like practical hours that she also had to do every week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's commitment. And when you find stories like this, you kind of just have to take a step back and just the human element, because I mean, like she was a mom at that time, and like having to still be the person first, take off all the hats of, you know, partner, mom, and like really be committed to yourself and your dreams.
Yeah,
that is beautiful, man. I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't think I would be able to do it every third week for the entire week.
Yeah, gone.
For years.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's some willpower. And kudos to her. I mean, the story and, you know, the message that she kept honing into was like higher. Make sure you have, like, because her whole ideology was that, you know, you want to get to a point where your business runs
even if you step away, like you can go take a vacation and they're not calling you every 5 minutes.
Right. And I think there's so much beauty in that, especially as entrepreneurs, because a lot of the times it's just us doing all the things. And I think that is a level of pride that you can get to that level where you have a staff where you are reaping all of the fruits of your labor.
Yeah.
Really,
absolutely.
you get to step away and your business is still functioning without you.
Yeah.
One day.
Yeah.
One day Vance and I are going to be there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Working towards it.
Working towards it.
Not next week.
No,
not next month. Not next year.
Well, then again, look, let's be real. She has been in business for 20 years now, so we know that this is not an overnight thing.
Yeah.
But
the one thing I will say, though, and I loved that she harped on it also again and again, as well as the hiring, was her mentor.
Oh, God,
she was like my mentor, my mentor, my mentor.
Yeah.
And that is so critical because you don't realize how much knowledge you can gain and how much knowledge is willing to be given until you just lean out and ask.
Yeah.
And did it cost her? Yeah, it did. But oftentimes that knowledge she gained saved her years.
Absolutely.
And untold probably sums of money, as well as saving her money from lots of mistakes that she could have made.
Absolutely. You don't know everything. I mean, you simply just cannot know everything. So having a mentor is so pivotal for the long game.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. If there's no one, again, pouring into you, again, the mature businesses that are saying, hey, let me save you. I can save you some time, some heartache.
Yeah.
If you just are willing to listen.
Yeah.
Before we talk about some more guests, this was the first season where we had a sponsor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was so cool. I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys. I'm such a soft seller. Like, I'm not the bulldog. Even with like guests or anything. Not that I don't know. Talking about money just makes me very nervous. So the fact that Jerry Coleman from Cape Fear Community College Small Business Center,
Amazing guy.
when I talked to him, which was an easy pathway because I already knew him at that. So I was just like, hey, Jerry, this is, what I'm offering in 2 seconds. So, like, let this be a testimony for anyone that's out there. Like, the worst that can happen is a no. But, like, don't go after it because there just might be a yes on the other side of the door. You never know, but you got to, like, put yourself out there. And with that, maybe we should go into a commercial break.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. See, I don't have him on the other side to hold up the bossy sign.
Yeah, maybe after the break, I'll show them my little sign showing that I'm a great producer that is not bossy, and I also don't hit my clients.
Oh, God.
We're going to talk about that. Yeah, I haven't forgotten about that.
We're going to go to a commercial break. We'll see you guys on the other side.
At Cape Fear Community College's Small Business Center, our mission is clear: to boost the number and success rate of viable small businesses in New Hanover and Pender County. We offer high quality, readily accessible assistance to prospective and existing small business owners, leading to job creation and retention. As a community-based provider, we offer education, training, counseling, referral, and information services, all at no charge. Remember, the business starts with an idea, but success begins with a plan. We're here to help you with that plan. To get started, visit our website at cfcc.edu/SBC or give us a call at 910-362-7469. Let's get started.
Discover the innovations shaping the future of our oceans. Join us on September 17th at the UNCW's Burney Center. Engage with leading experts like Mark Huang from Sea Ahead and Susan Casey, author of Voices in the Ocean. Participate in dynamic panel discussions on building a North Carolina Blue Hub, empowering communities, startup innovations in sustainability, and funding ocean innovations. Early registration ends August 1st, so register now to secure your seat. Be part of the change. See you there.
And we're back, guys. We did not realize that we were just yapping away for 45 minutes. But that's what happens. I mean, we want to give each guest an accurate, like, recap. And Vance and I were just good friends, and we know how to yap. Like,
I also don't know how to manage batteries correctly, so we had to change up the camera. So that was me.
There was a lot of. He's gonna throw them in bloopers. The biggest one is when you got locked out of the studio in the middle of
the recording. Yep. What I love was the fact, and I edited this out, but I'll throw this back in, is part of the way through, I cut it out, but I actually waved to you the first time. And you looked at me at the door, and you just went, not realizing the panic on my face. So I just got the nod.
Yeah.
And then you just kept right on going, and I'm just standing there at the door just like, I don't know what else to do.
To be fair, I thought the wave was like, keep going, like, I'm good. To be fair, because you didn't have a panicked look on your face. It looked like keep going, like, I'm gonna, get in here. That was not the case. It was to the point he yelled out, he was like, I need you to open the door. I was like, oh, pause.
It was so bad. And the worst part was, too, is I was mic'd up. So, like,
oh, you were?
I had a mic. So, like, even though I wasn't talking, you can hear the panic because you guys are doing it. And maybe I'll cut this in, but it was like, beep, 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 dirt, 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 dirt. And, like, you could hear the door just be like, nope.
This fair trade company from her aunt, that her aunt had gone over to Nepal, fell in love with the people, and decided to start this fair trade. So, we have several, but I think those are my two favorites. But we have several fair trade companies that.
Yeah. It's bad.
Okay, that makes sense now.
It was bad.
You know, that does make sense because you told me afterwards you didn't want to do it again.
Yeah.
Because you didn't know if it was going to send like an alert to like the building person, like someone's trying to break into.
Because I had tried 3 times already, and I'm like, okay, if this will lock out a phone, this
my
sure as
gosh.
heck is going to lock me out this room.
That is hilarious. No, for real, guys. I thought the wave was just like, I'm good. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh. Luckily that happened like towards the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all were both very gracious, and my pride was very wounded that day.
No, it's not so much a blooper, but so that was his panic moment.
Mm-hmm.
My panic moment was when we interviewed Wayne, right? And so Vance was being a great dad. He was attending his daughter's graduation.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a fill-in person, and this is nothing to Abram. Abram was great.
Abram was awesome.
It was
He
all
awesome.
me. Guys, let me tell you something. I'm gonna admit I'm very dependent on Vance. When we first made the agreement for him to be my producer, I literally said, "Hey, I just want to come in and talk. That's it." Well, the rubber met the road when we interviewed Wayne. I came in here, guys, I didn't know how to turn on the lights. I didn't know how to turn on the computer to get the mics working. And that's how much trust I have in Vance, because I literally was out here. And again, it goes to the professional capacity. Wayne was great. He did a great
amazing.
interview.
He was super good.
But I was super panicky. And again, I've known Wayne for a while, so he was just super chill. He was just like, like, as long as this works out correctly. So Abram and I were in here just like, Vance gave us a detailed list, right? Of No, he did. I was just panicking because I'm like, what do you, the box where? Because you could see we have ambient lighting here in the studio. Well, there's plugs that have buttons to turn these lights on. Mm-hmm. And so in the detailed list, he was like, hey, make sure you turn on the box with the light. And I was just like, what box is he talking about? Behind the couch? What are you talking? Anyway, I was in full. So we both had panic moments this season. Luckily, again,
y'all handled it
the
well.
Stand-in
Episode looked good.
Abram was great. Wayne was I'm kind of sad that you missed talking to him.
I was heartbroken. When I was looking back on the footage, I was like, he was a mayor?
He was a mayor. He has such a wide... Mm-hmm. Again, that's another person who's been in business for a long time and has such a cornucopia of just knowledge. He's still he doesn't practice, but he still has his license.
Yeah, he still has his license
as a lawyer, a mayor, business owner now, and his perspective of entrepreneurship in general. Was crazy. And even down to his story of why he kind of came here, because he comes from a small town and how he's kind of just like, they don't want to change and they're just kind of like a dying town, and to look at it from a different lens of in the perspective of like Wilmington, who's like thriving. I feel like we have no more room, people. Like stop moving here. Like, we have no more, literally there's no more like horizontal space. Everything's just kind of vertical and up because everyone just loves Wilmington. And I will say it's such a great business community.
Yeah. It's
thriving. People, we work together. There's not really like competition. It's just collaboration.
Yeah.
And it really, we're not on the map for no reason, but Wayne, and he's another person. He's in business with his best friend.
Yeah.
Who he said he's known since like they were 10. And again, another story of how it's went well.
Yeah.
Which is just, it's a great thing to hear. But his perspective, man, I was really blown away. Like I said, I've known him for a long time. I did not realize he was a mayor.
Yeah.
And
you would think someone who was like a mayor of like a town, any town would have like some kind of like, puffed out chest.
No.
He was just like humble,
chill,
calm, quiet, collected. I I would have never guessed in a million years.
It was so much so like with my guests, I make them fill out a contact form of like some of the things they want to talk about. If there's like non-negotiables that they want to talk, don't want to talk about, something interesting about them that I can bring up. And that was his interesting topic, that he was a mayor of a town. Had he not wrote that, I would have never, because his posture is just, it's not even like, I'm better than you or anything, or I know more. He was just, and back to the top, he's started as a lawyer to help small businesses, right? And then like years down the line, again, he still has his license for it, but like his small business now is to help small businesses still. It was great. He was a great guest. And
then not only that, but also his commitment to hiring in the U.S., which I love, particularly in the technology space. And the fact that he was like, I believe there was some kind of like veteran boot camp program, and the fact that he was like, I'll hire as many of them as will talk to me. If I get the opportunity, if I need to hire someone, I'm going to go there for it. And I just appreciate that.
Me too.
With him focusing on the veteran community, because that can sometimes be really difficult for them adjusting and coming back into, civilian life.
It is.
It
really
can be
difficult.
really, really difficult. I mean, I'm the son of a veteran, so I don't know myself. I know with you being a veteran, I'm sure that you probably faced your own difficulties. But I loved the fact that he had that heart to be like, that's one of the first places I'm going to go to.
It's great. I mean, the branch, I'm biased, but like, whatever. He works with Marines out of, I was going to say Fort Lauderdale. Where's my brain at today?
Camp Lejeune.
Camp Lejeune. Like, great guest.
Yeah.
So make sure you go back and watch his episode. If you work in the technology space, that's a great reference point. And if you are thinking about moving to Wilmington, please don't. But if you are thinking about moving and you're in the technology space, Wayne is a great reference point to get into that field.
Milton.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I love that man. He was,
He was, he owns his own graphic design studio, and hearing his story, especially when we got in the elephant in the room, as he's called it, with AI. Listen, guys, AI is a great tool. Don't get me wrong. I use it sometimes myself. But when it comes down to getting something for your brand that's not going to be cookie cutter, that's going to have some depth and originality to it, he gave such great reference points for why you should still look into hiring small businesses like himself. He was a great guest. Even his story of how he started out and just working his way through, and some of the clientele that he's had. Like, he mentioned that he did the rebranding for the North Carolina Film Festival here.
Yeah, the film festival, man.
And you know what? I'm not going to lie. I looked at the graphics this year, and I was just like, man, before I even knew, I was like, these are solid. Great guys. We talked about the inspiration of being a creative, and how you constantly have to push the limit and make sure that you're still
getting out of your comfort
zone, right? Because it's so easy,
yourself.
Right, to just stay in your little bubble. But great guess.
Yeah, and I loved. I'm not sure if this was talked about offline or whether I think it was also during it. But talking about the fact as a father.
Oh, yeah.
I loved that. The fact that he's I'm setting an example for my children.
Yes.
And that as they grow up, they're going to take after me. And so I want them to see an example of a man who's going after what he wants and going after his dream. Because that's what I try and do with my kids.
Same.
So it's one of those things of seeing that you don't think about that when you're running your business, when you're working in your business, and you're going after it. But you can be a really positive influence simply in how you run your business and your commitment to your passion.
Right.
I loved that.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. That was one of the things that we talked about in the episode, is how being a parent in this field as an entrepreneur is so pivotal, because they see a lot, whether you try to hide it from them or not. they see the ups, the downs, they see when things are going good. But at the end of the day, what they're seeing is a parent going after their dream. And that is such a beautiful thing, because your kid can now experience or see, like, man, if my parents can do it, I can do it too. Whatever that looks like. Like, whether you're an entrepreneur or not, that standard of having your kids watch you go after something that you love and that you're passionate about, it does more for them than you think. Like, I joked about in that episode how I have a 15-year-old, a 8-year-old, and a 7-year-old. Well, the younger two, one of them is like gung-ho, like he wants to follow in the pursuit of my talk show and being an entrepreneur. He is that kid. I joked in the episode how he literally told me, when you die, I'm gonna take over your show. And I'm just like, can I just like retire? Like, why do I have to die? Like, and then I joked because the other one, being an entrepreneur, I have the luxury of like being at home a lot. So they see me at home, doing all the mom things. So we have the one that's real crucial in being the entrepreneur, and the other one's like, when I grow up, I want to be a stay-at-home dad. Like, both positive like forms of seeing, because I am passionate about my kids. They know that, but like, I just think it was hilarious.
Two completely different sides of the coin. Yeah. By the way, shout out to any stay-at-home dads. Yeah, I did that for about a year. Was one of the hardest experiences of my life. Right. I literally got on my hands and knees and like, because my wife was a stay-at-home mom for a little bit, and I got on my hands and knees and literally cried and was like, I am so sorry for all of my ignorance. So shout out to any stay-at-home parents.
Yes, any stay-at-home parents, you guys are more loved than not. Yeah. So. Yeah, kudos to all you guys. And then Matt.
Oh, yeah.
The dog whisperer, the Castle Street dog whisperer.
That was wild. That man's got such a heart. Like, and it just came out of nowhere. No. And then before you knew it, you were like, dude, why don't you have a rescue? Like, you already are running one.
Because why do animals keep coming to you? Like, he was so incredibly fun to talk to. We laughed so much of how he thinks he has undiagnosed ADD, and so he was just like, if I get on a tangent about dogs, we're not going to talk about anything else. So like, and I jokingly kept bringing it up to like see if he would break. He actually did, and he did. Yeah, he did great. He owns Gravity Records, and that dude loves music, like all aspects, from him still continuing to learn. I know we talked about in the other half of this episode how like you don't know everything, and the fact that he's still learning how to better himself so he can better his business. Is remarkable. Go ahead.
I was going to say, the fact that he was like, I don't want to just know how this works. I don't want to know how to, I want to be able to look in a microscope to look at the diamond to see how much this person may or may not have been using the record player for. And I was like, that's some CSI level stuff.
Bro, you love this, don't you? You really like.
He literally got microscopic.
Yeah, you're not playing games about this. You actually, and one of the things that I loved is, in his story, is how he started off playing. If you see Matt, you would never think that he started playing the instrument that he told us in the episode.
Yeah, I would have never guessed.
And I'm not gonna say it because I want you to go watch the episode.
Y'all better go back.
But like, when he looks like hardcore, like punk rock type of feel. So when you watch the episode and he says, I started off playing.
Yeah.
I was like, no. He does not look that way. And then one of the cool things that we talked about, which I haven't talked about with any other guest, is getting into bed with other people.
Yeah.
And the lessons that he's kind of personally learned from that. And I talked about how Wilmington is so collaborative. And I'm not going to say anything else about that because I want you to watch the episode. But that, I was just like...
It was interesting. It was very eye-opening.
Very much so.
Yeah. And, it goes to show that there's some important lessons that you need to take and some important steps that you need to take before anything. But for the rest of that, y'all will have to go and watch that episode.
Yeah. I'll just say not everyone is as lucky...
as this situation.
That's what I'll say.
Hint, hint.
Hint, hint.
Yes.
About that.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. Look, I'm teasing you. The crazier part is I asked the question during the commercial break, and y'all didn't get the real answer. And I'm not gonna share the real answer, but we were like mouth dropped, like oh, and my head, my gears were spinning. Like, how can I still kind of like ask the question
in a polite, respectful way, without there being blood on the floor? Yeah.
He did a great job.
He did a very great job.
But y'all.
Also, the reservation of that man. Like, props to him.
Yeah, he was
props to him. Mm-hmm. I got a bone to pick with you.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, yeah, because he dropped it before
you ain't getting away from
the
this.
Commercial break. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I said that. I said that Vance was going to beat me up because I was running over and he was holding up his sign. And before the commercial break, I said he was going to beat me up. Vance has never laid a hand on me unless it was to fix a mic or anything. He is unbossiest.
Let me go get my little sign.
He's gonna pull out the sign, guys. I promise. It's all jokes. He is a great producer. I joke that he's bossy, but he has to be because just like we did this episode, I would run 45 minutes before going into commercial break. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the sign that he holds up. 15 minutes. P.S. I'm not being bossy.
Not at all.
Right now.
Yeah, no, totally not being bossy at all.
What can I say? I mean,
nice, polite.
It has to
bold.
be the running joke now for forever. I mean.
And then you want to know what's even nicer? So when she hits 30 minutes, you would think like giant. Nope, just a small little 30 minutes. Just a small little 30 minutes. You know, not trying to push you or anything. It's like, hey, take your time. You got your guess.
But you know what? If I'm correct, that's only been with maybe one or two guests where it was like at the 30-minute mark, and we still haven't. Again, I'm telling this season we had some yappers, and I love it. And I love it. Look, we always tell them more content is better than not having enough content because I've been in some episodes where I can only get about 21 minutes before it was like a cat scratching a chalkboard. Like, help me. This is your story. Why don't you have anything to say?
Yeah. There were some learning lessons, though, this season, I feel like. Any lessons that stood out to you?
If I would say anything, maybe just the commercial break sometimes, like, and what happens is that like they'll be in the middle of a really good point, and it's hard to be like, all right, enough, we need to go to commercial break. No, I think my lessons lay more like internal, like the getting sponsors part was a learning curve for me. I know that has nothing to do with like the season of talking to the guests, but it's still very pertinent for this season. Yeah,
and for future seasons as well.
And for future seasons, that's my plug right there. If you want to be a sponsor for next season, make sure you send us an email at info.twrhe@gmail.com. That was probably my biggest takeaway from learning experience of this season was getting a sponsor. Yeah. What about you?
I think for me it was, and this is going to sound really unsexy, but redundancy is so important. Having backup plans and backup plans for your backup plans. I mean, camera issues, it's going to happen. But particularly with Hawthorne and Oak, that was a critical moment for me as a business owner where I realized the value of having a backup plan and being prepared and being able to pivot. Because there was, with that issue, we had some initial mic issues that I was having to troubleshoot. And it got to the point where the guest time was very valuable. We couldn't push things back because we had 2 other guests before or after them. And
that was the day I had to go to the airport.
Yeah, you had to leave for the
I had
airport.
to zoom out of here. So, like, we had to get it done.
Yeah, we had to get it done, and there was no wiggle room. And I was very blessed at the beginning of the season. I invested in a wireless mic kit that I had been looking at. And so, and this just goes to show the quality of equipment nowadays is she was talking into the mic, but what you guys don't realize is that she was actually had a mic right here, a little lapel mic right here.
And that also plays a big aspect in how we operate in our businesses.
And if I wouldn't have had that, it would have been a very awkward episode with them having to pass the mic back and forth. So yeah, that was a big moment for me, was just realizing those investments that you make in your business that might not, you don't want to do it. It's a pain. You know you have to do it. Like growing pains almost. You don't want to do it, but you know you have to go through it. And that saved my butt. And now it's like I instantly have that as in my back pocket. And if that was, if that wouldn't have been the case, I don't know what we would have done with that episode.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And now that you say that, I'm thinking about other things like the lighting in here.
Yeah, that changed throughout the season.
Right. If you look at it, it's like sunrise to like setting because this season we're in a different room, so it was a different setup than last season. With some additional things like the ambient lighting and stuff like that. So like in Judy's episode, I think we had the overhead.
Just overhead lights,
Just overhead lights, not the ambient. So that was different, and trying to situate like what lighting looks best. And like I said, we moved rooms. As you see, I don't even have my sign today, but like trying to find the placement. For the sign was like a learning curve because even down to like how bright we needed it because of the different lighting in this room was all learning curves.
And like I had to learn too, because that Judy episode, I had memorized what the settings were for the previous season. So I was like, oh, I already know, boop, 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 done. And then, you know, that was something that I had to learn very quickly was like, okay, this is a great episode, but like me as a producer, I know I can do better than this. So I need to step up and I need to stop sitting on my butt and just being like, okay, I know this already. Eat my slice of humble pie and get after it and figure out, okay, how can I make this better? And I think as the season transitioned, I think it very much came into what you really had an idea for at the beginning of the season.
So when you watch it, you'll see how it's like really bright and then like along the way it gets where it needs to get. Did you have any standout quotes I know mine.
Okay.
From the season that anyone said? I know we talked a lot about what they've all said, but were there any like standout?
I'm gonna let you go first.
Oh, of course.
Because I know that you've already got yours locked down.
Yeah, mine was from Milton, and I'm not gonna get this completely correct, but he was like,
"Don't look at opportunities, be the opportunity."
Ooh,
yeah.
And I was like, man, that was so impactful because as entrepreneurs, a lot of us are finding whether it's I really love doing something and I want to create it, or like other times we see a gap in something and it's just like, oh, I can step into the gap. But above all, I think a lot of the times we're waiting to get the right recipe for the cake, or we're waiting for the sponsor to come to us, or we're waiting for like the first client to be like, hey, I need your services, or the vendor show, or whatever the opportunity looks like or fits into your journey. It's like don't wait for it. Just just create your own opportunity. I mean, it's so unlimited now, but that was the stick out for me. Don't wait for the opportunity. Create.
Yeah.
Opportunity.
I think, man, there were so many good ones because, like, my brain goes to Wayne, and then there was Milton. But I think I'm honestly going to have to throw it back to the first episode with Judy. Because it just amazed me, her level of just courage and just being like, I can lead this, I can do this. And even when she walked in and they were like, what experience do you have with food? And she's like, none.
He came in and he said, there's this nasty rumor going around that you don't cook. And I said, well, it's not a rumor, but it's true.
But I can do this?
Yeah.
Like, but she knew within herself, she's like, I'm going to either lead this or I'm going to fail.
Yeah.
And she was just like, I mean, I'm kind of paraphrasing because the whole episode was essentially that theme.
Yeah.
But it was that sense of just don't be afraid, just go after it. Even if you feel like you're going to fail, it's better for you to fail and try than to not do anything at all.
Yeah.
Because then later in the episode, she's like, she sees this school, she sees how successful it is, she sees the impact it's making in the community. And she's like, I'm a TV producer, TV director, but what do I know about schools? Well, I don't know, but I know I want to make an impact in these girls' lives. So I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah.
And that right there alone is like, okay, I've got zero excuse.
Yeah. No, that's a great takeaway. And one of the great other points that she made was like, know your workplace, and like if it's not fitting for you, then leave.
Yeah.
Like, so, yeah. On that note, we're going to leave you guys because we got things to do.
Yeah.
I mean, not really.
She needs to take a nap. I've got some footage to edit, some cameras to look at.
Yeah,
right. Signs I need
we're
to
gonna
write.
get that laminated for next season.
Yeah, we're just gonna cross this out. It's just gonna be like done.
Done. Yeah.
Yeah,
like
that's it.
You need to wrap up now.
Yeah.
Like,
and the whole season, she's like, just you can just wave, do whatever, and then all of a sudden, she's like, he's flagging me down.
Yeah, you got to make him look like the bad guy.
Of course.
So.
I'm always the bad guy.
Yeah, but this has been a great season. Let us know in the comments after you've watched the entire season. What was your favorite episode? What was your favorite takeaway? And if you're an entrepreneur here in Wilmington, North Carolina, or the surrounding episodes, hit me up. It's going to be more seasons. Thank you to Wilmington Podcast Studio. Thank you to Vance, of course. And thank you to our sponsors for the season. Until next time, I'm Rhema T. This is Vance. Go out and support a local business. Bye. Hey guys, it's me, Rhema T. And I hope at the end of this episode you felt super inspired to shop within your local community. But make sure to tune in next week where I'll have another entrepreneur to talk about their journey here only on YouTube.